of sky, and mostly big gray, scary clouds. You know, I was so happy. Hey, Pamela!
Hey!
And now I'm even happier because Pamela's here. Yay!
Yay!
So everybody, you know, I guess I should introduce, for those of you who don't know who these two people are, what's wrong with you? Hello. It's Fraser Kane from Universe Today, who's now gone.
Was Fraser Kane.
Goodbye, Fraser. And Pamela Gay, my dear friend, Dr.
Hi.
Pamela Gay from the sweet
Yes.
Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. I almost said Evansville. That's,
Indiana.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're in Illinois.
Yep.
A lovely town, a lovely university. I was there a couple of years ago, and we had a great time. And Pamela does Astronomy Cast with Fraser, has the greatest voice ever in the whole world, and she knows her stuff. So thanks for coming in.
It's my pleasure. I'm just sitting here watching all the photos. I'm being distracted by the photos coming down on Google Plus as people post them.
I don't know if you were here earlier when I started this, and it was sort of an epic disaster trying to juggle like 10 pins at the same time. I was trying to get this running and embed it in the blog, but you know you can't embed it until you start it. But it wasn't public. But if you knew the URL, you could see it, and then people started coming in, and I don't know who they are, and it's like, what is going on? But I have it relatively under control now. We have a live feed from the Summers Bausch Observatory in Colorado, and it says live view of the underside of clouds from Boulder. So.
Yeah, we're right at the tail end of you don't get to see it where I am. It's like if you could be at a high point of land at the moment of sunset, you could see just a little shaving coming off of the moon maybe.
Oh, really?
Or coming off of the sun, but we're clouded in, so it really doesn't matter.
Well, just to let people know, here's the view once again from Toyama in Japan, and it's done. The folks in Japan are done. They no longer see the eclipse. The moon has moved off. You can still see those two little sunspot dudes there. Those are the same two I posted today on my blog. When I was putting up a post, I decided to put up a little view from Solar Dynamics Observatory, and just to show people what they'd be seeing, you know, as far as the solar surface. So the moon's gone, so I will kill that feed. And here's the view from Colorado, where there are giant letters on the sky. It's actually terrifying. Let me fiddle with this a bit. There's this other place here. Yeah, Japan's off the air, so they're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and there's that ad. I'm going to kill that.
There'll be no ads from our feed, I promise.
Yeah, cool.
Unless it's Scott pitching, I don't know, his telescope services. So.
Okay.
So we're now just waiting
terrific.
for Arizona feeds.
What is this thing doing? It's totally... Oh, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, people are seeing my mail. Great. I don't think there's anything terrible there. So I'm gonna look at a map for a moment. Where is that map window?
Yeah, we've now hit the point where all the folks in Japan have had a chance to go back to their computers because the eclipse is over, and they're all starting to post all of their pictures. I love the time delay where you can tell when things just finished.
Well, unfortunately, there's a bit of a gap now, right? Because you know, it'd be the people in the Pacific. I guess people in Hawaii would be able to showcase the eclipse now.
Actually, I don't think it's that good of a view in Hawaii.
It's right off of Alaska. It's the Aleutian Islands.
Yeah, you have to go up to the Aleutians, and even there, its totality is. I've got the map here. It's just south of the Aleutian Islands. Oh, this map's making me crazy. Hang on. Here we go. I can show. Here is. Boom. There's the map of totality. So this blue line is if you're standing here, the moon perfectly cuts across the center of the sun. If you're off to the side, it gets farther and farther off until you're outside of the sort of red lines here, and then you only see a partial eclipse. And
it goes tangent to land.
Yeah, and this is all basically parallax. It's all because of the changing angle that you're seeing the sun and the moon. So depending on where you are on the Earth, the line between you to the moon to the sun changes, that angle. So if you're outside here, that angle doesn't put the moon in exactly the center of the sun. If you're right on the blue line, it does. So you can see it passed over the southern part of Japan, and every time I do that, a little pop-up comes up. Southern part of Japan here, the Japanese island. Now it's over nothing. Some sort of ridge. If you're some squid, you can see it there. Here's the center point. I believe this is the current center point of the eclipse. I'm not sure, but I think that's what that is.
That's the point of greatest elongation.
Yeah, right now, yeah. So you can see here the Aleutian Islands. Oh, I didn't know a lot of them were underwater. I didn't realize it extended that far west. That's really cool. So if you're here, you just will miss being able to see the perfect eclipse. But the pictures, if somebody's there, I don't even know if people live there, you'll see one of those cool, really C-shaped crescents, which is neat. And then it heads south and passes over the U.S.
You mean south of Canada?
South of Canada, yeah. So if you're in Canada, haha.
And it ends right before it gets here because the sun has the indignity of setting.
Yeah, so this line right here is the... I thought this was the last visibility, this yellow line. What's this green line? Let's do help.
I think that's the first, second, and third contact.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes, because I missed third contact and I'm right here. Or I'm right here. I see first and second.
Yeah,
third.
so I only see first contact.
Oh, fourth contact is when it leaves. Right. So you're right. So first contact is this line here is the sun sets right as the moon starts to pass in front of the sun.
So we get to see a small amount of it chomped here, except it's thunderstorming, or at least it's getting ready to thunderstorm.
Oh, I see. So you're right. You're like, where's St. Louis? You're like right here. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you get to see like for a few minutes, and then the sun sets. And if you're here, the sun sets right as you get greatest eclipse, if I'm reading this correctly.
And I would be getting an amazing eclipse, except for the fact that it's completely cloudy. We've had 7 straight days of sun, and then it just clouded over last night, and then that's that.
But you're up here, right, in Vancouver Island?
Yeah, I'm right.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, I'm right there, yeah.
Yeah, I have to scale up too high, so it's hard to see that that's an island. Here we go.
Yeah.
So Fraser lives on Vancouver Island. Pamela is over here in Illinois someplace, and I'm over here in Boulder, right about here. So you can see we are all getting very different views. Where Fraser is, Fraser's far enough north, up here, that the moon is actually going to give him a slightly different view. It's going to cover less of the sun than where it would here, because I'm a little bit closer to the path.
Yeah, I think we're going to get 80% is the maximum.
Okay.
And you're going to get really close to totality. Now Pamela was actually reminding me, or letting me know that in 2017, there's going to be a total eclipse that's going to start in Seattle and end in Nashville and be full-on total eclipse. Like, everyone in North America should be able to make their way to a location.
Yeah.
It's the Music Hall of Fame one, basically, because it goes from Seattle's music scene to St. Louis's music scene to Nashville's music scene. So pick what type of music you want to listen to while you watch the eclipse.
Well, in St. Louis, I can get toasted ravioli.
Yes, you can. And the center line is 30 miles south of my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you.
Well, then I guess we're going to your house.
Yeah, so you both know you have rooms.
That's amazing.
That's true. Oh, and that twisty MC Escher house of yours.
Yeah.
So will you actually get totality at your house, Pamela?
I think if I was at my house, it would be like just the top off of the sun removed. So just drive a little bit south, and it's perfect.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be worth a drive.
Yeah.
That was my feeling on this one. You know, when I sort of started to do the math and figured out where I would have to go, I'm looking at like about an 8-hour drive to get, or maybe a 12-hour drive to go from my house, take the ferry onto the mainland, drive through the States, through down to Reading. It's about 12 hours. And I was like, for a total eclipse, I would do it. For like a full coverage.
Yeah.
For an annular eclipse, No, I don't think I'll do it.
Yeah, I could have stayed in Santa Fe. I was just down in Santa Fe for a NASA meeting, and there was a bunch of people who were thinking maybe we'll stay, watch it. I know if you're in Albuquerque, it's right down central, so you can just basically sit and watch the sunset over the road and watch the eclipse begin to occur. But I know I'm cursed. It's a special skill I have where if there's an eclipse and there's me, there will be clouds. Case in point outside right now. So I decided I'd let everyone have wonderful views in Santa Fe and go home.
Yeah, you have the saddest story. Well, you know what? Your story is almost as sad as my story. Maybe they're equally sad, in which I flew my father down to Florida to watch the last space shuttle launch, the second to last space shuttle launch, and I've never seen a space shuttle launch before, and it got delayed. And so we didn't get a chance to watch the space shuttle. But Pamela was floating on a cruise in the middle of the South China Sea, and there was clouds for her total eclipse.
Rain.
Have either of you ever seen one? I've never seen one.
No,
I've seen an annular from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan back in the early 90s.
Oh, the UPA.
Yeah. It's where all the funky language originates.
There was one in golly, like 1979, maybe on the east coast of the U.S. And I saw that one, but it wasn't complete. And there was another one in '84, which was annular, and we got a pretty decent one where I was, but it wasn't bad.
I got rained on.
But I've never seen a total one, and hopefully we'll get a chance for 2017. I mean, there's roughly one per year somewhere on Earth. The last one was it over Antarctica? Is that right?
Yeah. It was a silly
do you guys know Glenn Schneider from University of Arizona? He's an infrared astronomer. I worked with him on Hubble. He worked with Nick Moss, the infrared camera on Hubble. And he's an umbraphile. He chases eclipses all over the Earth. He's also a mad genius, and so he actually calculates exactly where they're going to be, and I mean exactly. And he wrote software, navigational software for airplanes. Oh, wow. And like a couple of years ago, he rented out a plane, and they flew, and you could get the left side of the plane, private, a charter jet, and they flew right down the center line. And so you can fly along the path. Now, as the Earth is spinning, right, the point of center eclipse is moving. So if you're in an airplane, it's moving rapidly. If you're in an airplane, you can kind of follow it. So you can actually turn a 4-minute eclipse into a 5-minute eclipse. And people say that extra minute is absolutely worth it. I've never seen one, so I'm an eclipse virgin. But he's seen like 28, something crazy like that.
Yeah. We should really rectify this. We should. If nothing, if all else fails, we'll meet at 2017 at Pamela's house.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yeah.
It's such a nice little town. I like Edwardsville.
And we now have a noisy astronomer here as well.
Yay, Nicole's there. That's right. Oh, I should invite her into this, but she's probably not around.
She just tweeted.
I did see her on Twitter. Nicole Garvin Flavin Narvin Gnargan.
Yeah, she shared your feed at 7:08, so she's out there.
Just looking to see. Gosh, I don't know who else is around. I haven't heard from anybody.
Well, Ray. So from our team, we've got Ray Sanders, who's in Arizona, is going to be setting up, and we've got Scott Lewis, who's in Los Angeles. He's going to be setting up probably within the next couple of minutes, although, technical difficulties. We'll see what happens.
Right. My friend Ginny Corbett is in Minneapolis, and she said it cleared up for her, and cool. She made one of the mirror and foil assemblies that I linked to, and she just tweeted a picture of it. Oh, very clever. Nicely done, Ginny. If you're listening, I know she's on Twitter. And they're up there. They're pretty far from the center line. I don't know what kind of percentage they'll get, but I can actually. You know what, Ginny? I'll look that up for you. I can click on Minneapolis, and you guys get magnitude at maximum 67%. So 67, more than 2/3 of the sun, or almost exactly 2/3 of the sun, will be blocked for you.
That's awesome.
And what she did, actually, I can share this link. Ginny, I hope you don't mind. She won't mind. She might mind. I don't know. But here's how she set it up. I love this. Here is These are mirrors that you're seeing almost edge on that she's covered with foil and poked a little hole in them. And so the sunlight is coming from this way, right? It's coming down this way, hitting these mirrors, and then she's reflecting it onto this box a few feet away. And you can move these boxes in and out to get the focus to change. And if you go to my
cosmetic mirrors?
Yeah, makeup mirrors.
Okay, cool.
I have one upstairs. My wife has one, and I've used it too because sadly sometimes, I don't know if it's not sad, but it's just men typically don't wear makeup, but there you go. I get on TV, and sometimes I have to do that. So also I have a very shiny forehead, so I put powder on my forehead when I do these things. Oh, look, there's the sun.
Yeah, I was going to say, your lighting looks amazing.
Oh, holy crap, what a cool view. There are clouds in front of the sun, but no, it's getting too thick. But you can see on my shirt when the sunlight's coming in.
You might be able to broadcast them with your binoculars there, the one behind you.
I was thinking about that. I'm a little concerned it's going to be behind my neighbor's house at that point. And the angle's kind of funny because it's coming in at a steep angle here. But at the very least, I can just pull the webcam off the back of the monitor and stick the eclipse glasses on it and try that. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so actually, I just want to say Ginny's setup here with the mirror, and that you just take aluminum foil, cut a hole out of it about that big, put it over a flat mirror, and then you're just exposing a little tiny bit of the mirror, and then you can reflect the sun. If it's a long enough distance, it acts like a pinhole camera, and you can reflect the sun onto a piece of paper or the side of a house or whatever, and you can actually get a pretty nice view of the sun that way. I've done that. It actually works. I remember I was in grad school. I wonder if that was the '94 eclipse, and we did that. We had a big mirror set up, and we cut out 2 or 3 holes, and so you could have these different views of it, and we had it reflected a long way, and so we got actually a fairly sharp image of the sun. It was pretty slick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my favorite sort of the quick and dirty way is to grab a set of binoculars. Don't look through them. Hold them to the side and aim what you do is you want to look for the shadow. So when you take your binoculars, you face them towards the sun, and when you've got them nicely lined up, you'll actually have the shadow of the binoculars will go down to just, you're seeing a 2-dimensional version of the binoculars. Then you're directed right at the sun, and then what you'll see is you'll see this bright light coming down the optics and sort of shining. So you put a piece of paper on the other side, and then you can mess around with pulling the piece of paper forward and back and getting it to the point that you've got a really nice crisp view. And when you do that, and you can do this anytime you want, you get this amazing view. You can see the sunspots on the sun. You can see and you can see the eclipse when it's going on. You can see the big chomps getting taken out of the sun. It's great. The only problem, of course, is that you don't want to fry your optics.
Yeah.
Right.
If there's dust on your, the light coming in, so you've got the fat end of the binoculars. If you look over my shoulder here, this shoulder, here we go. Right, here we go. So there's the fat end. That's where the light comes in. Then it goes through and comes out the skinny end, and that's where you put your eyes normally. You don't do that when you're looking at the sun. But the thing is, on this end, the light's coming in. It's okay. But it gets concentrated when it comes out here. So it's focusing it into a narrow beam, and that's what damages your eyes. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The problem is if there's dust on that lens, it can get hot, and it can burn, and then you get crap
melted
on the lens.
bits.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'll go grab some visual aids. I'll sort of show people what I'm talking about. I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay. Go ahead, Pamela.
Oh, I was just going to say one of my favorite accidental ways of projecting the sun is back in the '94 eclipse again. One of the guys out where I was in the Upper Peninsula pulled his baseball cap off to look through the solar telescope we had set up, and it was one that had a mesh top, and he held it just right so that all the little pieces in the mesh all acted like little pinhole cameras. So there's like 100 little tiny solar eclipses projected all over the ground. It was just one of those awesome, everyone was distracted from the telescope moments.
That's cool. Yeah, I just saw one. The Exploratorium in San Francisco has a great link, and they show how you can put your hands like this.
Yeah.
Right, and what happens is the reason the ground is just illuminated when you go outside, you just look out and everything's lit up, is because no matter where you are on the ground, you're seeing the sun. So the sunlight's coming down in all different directions. So what happens is it's out of focus. But if you can actually take a like literally a piece of paper, and poke
Pinhole.
a pin through it, then all the light, the sunlight's coming basically from one direction. And that's what a lens does. It just takes light coming from different directions and all focuses it in one direction. So the pinhole does the same thing. It blocks all of the light coming from all the different directions, and it just lets through that one parallel beam, which is focused. That's all it is to it.
One of the creepiest things that you can do with a pinhole camera that's really quite awesome. So take a filing card, something like that, poke a hole in it, look through it, take a second card and slide it down over the field of view, and you'll see it come up from the bottom of the scene you're looking at. It's a neat little optical effect of the way the rays cross.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's really strange. There's a lot of things that are totally not intuitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could do a pinhole like that. That's what the mirror is doing. If you take a mirror and cut the hole out of the foil and put it on there, it doesn't have to be foil. It's just easiest to do it with foil, and then you can wrap the foil around the mirror, and that works. You can use your fingers like that. The mesh. I've seen pictures from eclipses in the past where there are holes in leaves, or there are leaves overlapping in trees, and so you see the shadow of the tree, and there's hundreds and hundreds of little eclipse images on the ground. So cool.
Right, so just to show you what I've got here. So I've got my handy-dandy Galileo scope.
Available at astrogear.org.
Yeah. And this is a telescope that is roughly equivalent to what Galileo saw, and then it's been boosted up with even better optics. You can see much better than what Galileo saw, including the rings of Venus, craters on the moon.
Rings of Venus?
Sorry, the rings of Venus. The rings of Saturn. Craters on the moon.
Don't tell the public about those. You're not supposed to know.
Phases of Venus.
Phases of Venus was what I meant. I've mashed a bunch of things all together. The phases of Venus, the rings of Saturn, bands across the Jupiter, the moons of Jupiter, craters on the moon, and you can watch eclipses. And so what you do, right? So here's the business end of the telescope. And so you aim it, but do not look at it. That's, one-way path to blindness. So you hold it to the side, and then what you're going to get, right, with this is as I point it right at the sun, I'm going to see a shadow on the ground of the telescope, and that's going to tell me where to point it, because I'm going to see a long version of the shadow. And eventually, right, you're going to see your shadow is going to kind of look like this. And when the shadow looks like that, then you know that the telescope was pointed right at the sun. And then what you do is you want to hold a piece of paper up behind your telescope. And so what you're then going to get, and then with a little more sort of fiddling around with it, you're going to end up with this really bright spot that's going to show up on your piece of paper. And then all you have to do is move the paper back and forth in sort of a distance from your telescope, whatever you're using as your telescope. And you're going to end up with, eventually, you're going to see the sunspots resolve. And then you know you've got a focused view of the sun on this piece of paper. Now, the other trick you want to do is you want to sort of get a shadow going over top of the rest of the paper. So you ideally want the version that you're broadcasting to go into a shadowed part of the paper. And then you'll see this beautiful, depending on your telescope or whatever, this beautiful view of the sun. You'll see the eclipse getting chomped out of it. It's by far my kind of favorite way, because everybody's got a pair of binoculars kicking around. And seriously, if you're in the affected area, the eclipse has essentially begun for everyone on the West Coast. So it's happening up here in Canada. It's happening for anyone along the West Coast now, Oregon, Los Angeles. So if you've got a pair of binoculars, in this case, obviously, this is, a binocular cut in half, but, you don't need both. Just one of the eyepieces will do, and then get a piece of paper, go outside right now, do this trick that I'm talking about, and you should be able to see a chunk of the eclipse taken out right now. Right now!
If anybody knows a good feed, go ahead and put it in the chat room or tweet it, and that way we can see it, and I can try to screen share it.
We're waiting on Scott right now. He should be, in theory, he was going to be broadcasting 8 minutes ago, but technology.
Yeah, and I'm looking out my window.
Isn't he Mountain Time, though?
Well, it just started for me.
He's in LA.
And there's just this massive cloud right there. I'm getting gorgeous optical effects. I'm seeing all kinds of neat shadows and rays. And it looks like it's breaking up. And I can just see the sun. Oh, just barely. But it's so clouded over. I'm trying to think, which direction will the moon come from? It'll come from the top? It's coming this way.
It's actually starting to rain.
Oh! And the new moon, it's coming in. No, it's going to come from the bottom for me because the moon is heading toward being new. So, it's clearing out. It's really fuzzy and choppy from the clouds, but I don't see it being blocked. Nuts.
Not yet.
But I will open up, pardon me here, I will see if I can find that window where I had the other Colorado Observatory open.
You might want to look at SLU's feed right now. They've got a live view of the sun. It's pretty good.
Hang on. There it is. Oops, that's not the one I want, though. Summers Bausch Observatory heliostat live. Here we go. Awesome. Tell me they have a view. Tell me they have a view. It's popping up. It's coming. Here we go.
Pulling up the Department of the Interior one, which is offline.
I couldn't get in on that one. Ugh, I've got a commercial. Hang on a sec.
Ustream.
Come on. There we go. Live view of the underside of clouds, it still says.
Oh.
Which is interesting. I mean, it's such a patchy cloud. But, again, you know, now I'm getting more sunlight here, so let me check. Oh, it's so weird. I'm just seeing all of the patchy clouds moving across the sun. So it'll probably be well, the moon's not covering much of the sun from here anyway, so it'll probably be a couple of more minutes. Oops, lost my earpiece. There we go. So let's see if people are promoting other.
The Summers Bach is just amusing.
Checking the room. Boom. Here's one.
Clouds can lead to some really interesting photos, though.
Yvonne Patowski says, according to the calculator, it should be coming from the lower right in the Denver area. Yeah, I figured that out, too. You just kind of figure it out if you kind of know which direction the moon is and what the phases are and all that. It makes my daughter crazy because I do stuff where I can figure out where the moon is in the sky and all that kind of stuff. And she said, how do you do that?
Math.
Just know what I'm doing.
And math.
Oh, here we go. There's a nice view. Where is this from? Here, let me screen share this.
Yeah, so if anybody sees any cameras happening right now, definitely drop us a note in the comments. You can message any of us on Twitter. Probably send it to Phil, that astronomer, on Twitter.
This is a nice view, and it's on, it's Ustream/Solar Eclipse. Okay,
so I just talked to Scott. He looks like he's got it going now. Do you have any problem with me